Hey everyone. So happy Monday. It's June 1st already. And with everything happening around the nation, I can't tell you how sad we all are about all the polarity that's happening. So, just a moment to ponder that and pray for our country and for justice to be served and for everyone to come together and have peace during this turbulent time. So, today I want to talk to you guys about the true pursuit of yoga. So, why do you practice yoga? Is it to be more flexible, to be stronger, more stable, be pain free, or is it to look good in yoga pants? There's no right or wrong answer, but in the pursuit of yoga, often the end result is not considered carefully. Let's say you want to be more flexible. How will you measure the flexibility over time? How do you metrically measure your progress? Let's say you want to be stronger. Will you measure it based on the transition or a pose you can complete? And let's say you want to be more stable. How will this be assessed? The point to this is many of us don't take the time to get really clear and anchor down into our own personal goals for the practice. Our very goal becomes what's external to us. It's what we see. It used to be this way for me for years. I'd feel so good in Bikram and Ashtanga classes as I was able to force my body into hard poses and transitions that looked good, but slowly I felt my joints get strained and realized there was lack of muscle activation and there was a lack of body awareness, even for me. And that was my pursuit of yoga, which didn't really last for very long. So the pursuit of yoga became more about completing the primary series of the Ashtanga practice or going to Bikram yoga classes a certain times a week. It was became something that I checked off every week, right? It felt to me like it was a good goal, and with no real end in mind, I committed without considering any more than that. The practice of Bikram and Ashtanga itself in a class setting is very empowering. Everyone in the class holds you accountable to the practice, and there's a certain energy in the class to complete the class together. I first did, like in a very long time. We've been closed out at our studio for about 3 months now. We did our first hot yoga together, and all of us were practicing virtually together. And I've been practicing religiously during the last 3 months in my personal practice. Even then, something about being together in a class, it creates camaraderie to where we start to hold each other accountable. And it's an unspoken, unhonorary thing that goes on. And I can't tell you how powerful that is, right? So I found myself getting intoxicated by my ego eventually in my classes when I was practicing Bikram and Ashtanga. My mind became progressively competitive to how I would perform in classes versus what felt good in my body. So I stopped tuning in. It was more about my performance to the external world. It's sort of became my goal, which was short sighted in retrospect. Didn't even know that that was what I was doing. And there were camaraderie and connections, like I said, among the students to feel like we were all on the path to pursue something greater. But what exactly? Teacher idealization was something I became aware of in both myself and the community of yogis I surrounded myself with for a very long time. I became fascinated by the impact and influence the teacher had over their students, especially back in the days when people were practicing the original Bikram yoga. The truth is that hard work is in slowing down enough to break up the biomechanics of the poses and transitions to increase endurance, strength, and safe flexibility. But I will tell you, some yogis don't even want to go there. They're so hell bent on getting to the end line. And that's what they do, right? There's a lot of compensation, but that's what they want to get to, so much so that they never slow down enough to really learn the poses in a proper way. So I found many students want better ways to be efficient in their bodies and are appreciative of any help you offer in helping them get stronger, more flexible, and safe for the long term. Because we only have one body, you guys. It's something we must guard and protect. And because yoga also is a long game, not a short sprint to something. So, most yoga teachers prefer to place blinders on and teach what they know best, what makes them feel excellent, and what makes the students feel good. The hard part is that yoga does feel good, right? I felt good all those years that I was beating my body. And students really are at the mercy of the teacher that they resonate with. And once they become a fan to the teacher, the students will do whatever the teacher teaches. Herein lies the responsibility and is why the alkaline method yoga was created. It's to pull those teachers in you and those of you that practice yoga on a regular basis to hold responsibility for the practice for yourself, to become better at teaching and meeting the students where they are, to know the art of delivering what they need by giving them what they want. It's a fine art and it's a dance you have with your students. But wholeheartedly, don't get lost in your ego and how good you are as a teacher, but really be on the lookout for the students that you teach. The breakdown of poses and finding strength in the by making neuromuscular connections to the body, right? By breaking down these poses in that way and allowing the neuromuscular connections, right? Neuromuscular connections to elicit movement in the musculoskeletal system is where it takes expertise and careful training to go the extra mile. I will tell you, not many yoga teachers want to do that. They want the easy fix. They want to repeat what they know best because they're great vinyasa yoga teachers. They can get really crazy with the vinyasa flows, and it's an amazing experience for the teachers. But again, if you know the principles of how our bodies are designed to move, can you allow your students to slow down enough to really learn the concepts, the principle foundational concepts that stands the test of time for the students to keep their practice safe is the real question. I know many yoga teachers and most don't want to have this conversation because I've tried many times. They have this glossed over look because they're so good at what they do, so much so it's not up for discussion. And they have a following of students that they're happy or who are happy because they are popular and providing classes that they themselves know. And this is what's being had in the social media. And I, as a practitioner, and I, as a seasoned yoga practitioner, as well as a student, as well as a patient, know that there are a large population of clients that need knowledgeable instructors to step up and be real responsible and meet the students where they are. And it really does take responsibility and knowledge, you guys. And many seasoned yogis that I've learned from truly believe anatomy and alignment are not relevant to the practice of yoga because it's not how it was taught in their lineage of yoga from their teachers. And many of them have gone to India for this experience, which I think is amazing. And I'm not demeaning that in any way. All I'm saying is here in the United States and in most urban culture around the world, people are sedentary. We don't walk everywhere. It's not like, in history where everybody walked and people can move. And I think there is a concept and there should be some respect to the evolution of medicine and the knowledge base that's had through research, trial, and error to figure out that we do evolve and there's a different population of people that live today. And we really should teach our clients that it's really a self-healing journey is what yoga is. And to have that effect, it's more about teaching them to be so empowered that they then become the teachers of their own body. That's a great, great goal to have as a yoga practitioner as well as a teacher. Here's what I do want to make clear. In just about every field, including physical therapy, nutrition, medicine, functional medicine, yoga, Pilates, etc., there's a certain way that are always taught, and it doesn't require critical thinking because we're provided with exactly what to do. And herein lies the paradox. Most people would rather follow than to think on their own. They want to be told exactly what to do. How do I know? Well, I've been a clinician for over 20 years and I've got kids and I've been the product of education system, which tells you what to think. Curriculum is laid out. The way I'm asked to practice each of the fields that I mentioned, because I am a physical therapist, I am a registered dietitian, I am a board certified functional medicine practitioner, I am a yoga teacher and a Pilates instructor. There's a certain way you're taught to do certain things. And to veer off on your own, to critically think and create better and improved ways by interlocking all the principles that really elevate the whole practice is a no no in any given field because they hold on to what they know. But often, the art is in combining the different practices. We're here to evolve as humans evolve, right? So the dogmas become the standard in these types of thinking, the group think, and it doesn't get questioned. So there is no growth and there is no evolution. I am trying to inspire those of you who are truly seeking yoga with the end in mind to critically think to understand the underlying principles that allow our bodies to move. That's exactly it, right? If you take the time to learn the fundamental principles of anatomy and alignment, then you can master the craft of practicing and teaching yoga to help yourself and to help your clients truly heal from the inside out. And you set them up for success for life, right? Whether it's a physical, mental, or emotional, students are whole beings that are seeking yoga for healing. Whatever brings them through your doors, and as you exercise your power as a teacher, it's something I want you guys to really, really think about. A great yoga practitioner is a healer who understands what the students want and meet them where they are and artfully deliver what they need to the students to lead them into a deeper practice that ultimately has a healing effect. That's to me is the epitome of a great yoga practitioner. If we all practice this way, there won't be so much polarizing viewpoints that create tension and conflict in any given field. And we would all learn to agree to disagree and extend love to one another. And I believe yoga brings us to more empowerment, more compassion, empathy, because it allows us for self exploration and self healing, because it is a self healing journey. It's the journey to yourself. And if we can become more aware of ourselves through the practice of yoga physically, mentally, and emotionally, we can all have empathy and compassion toward one another because we're all having a human experience which is full of dichotomous paradoxes, such as joy and suffering that we see all around us today. We would all learn to sit with the discomfort and allow the feelings of joy and suffering to pass through our bodies and to feel them wholeheartedly. We need this more than ever today. It's when we repress and reject, especially the negative emotions that life tends to throw at us, that we become increasingly more angry, fearful, and anxious. And there is absolutely no upside to those feelings in our lives. And at the time of this recording, we're in the midst of a COVID-19 pandemic, and we have a nationwide protesting going on. And it is times like this that we must pull forth compassion, empathy, and understanding and love toward one another. We must learn to hold hands and elevate one another rather than to be consumed with anger and resentment. So, was as you look forward to your practice or your teaching, I want you to know just how much your students look up to you for direction or look to you for direction. They are at the mercy of what you teach and what you exemplify. And so, any teachers are true leaders. And I'm not sure that many of you really understand that. And so, my question is, will you rise above and commit to the mastery of your craft in the way that keeps your students safe? And that means committing to learning the hard stuff and really getting to know the human body. And it's not something that's going to provide you with fame, or it's not something that's going to make you look good on social media. It's the deep work, the deep thinking, and the commitment that's required to really transform the experience of your students so that they too can level up and dare to heal themselves. I want to encourage you to be the category of one by truly stepping up as yourself so that you can achieve your true potential to influence and impact the lives that you touch every single day in a meaningful way. It's time to move away from the group thinking of how yoga is practiced and what should and ought to be, and dare to focus on the yin and yang, which is another way of saying commit to learning the details of the body mechanics. Learn what you have to and take responsibility and ownership over it because that's what you do every day that you step into a class to teach and apply the knowledge to yourself and then teach what you learned. And it requires you to be a little humble. And I will say that. And I just want to thank you for listening. And I hope everybody stays safe and just want to offer up a moment of peace for all the suffering that's going on out there, all the injustice. And I hope and pray for healing and peace in every single one of you. But I also want to challenge each and every one of you to rise up and always choose love and really choose empathy and compassion over resentment and hate and worry. So remember, the practice of yoga will help you to get there. It's a sacred place, and we want to elevate the practice of yoga and refine it so that you cultivate mastery really over your mind and body. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, or if you're watching and partaking in this with me live, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time.